You ever get that creepy feeling that your phone is, listening to you? Well, the Netflix documentary The Social Dilemma suggested it's actually something way deeper than that. And wow, did it start a huge global conversation about the tech we use every single day. So let's dive into this. We're going to break down how these platforms really work, the hidden price we're all paying, and most importantly, what we can actually do about it. This one sentence right here, it's pretty much the key to this whole puzzle. Now, it's an old saying, but the social dilemma really brought it into the spotlight for millions of people. It makes you stop and think, right? If these incredibly powerful platforms are completely free, what are they really selling? Well, as we're about to see, the answer is us.
All right, so let's follow the money. How does this whole thing actually make billions of dollars? Well, it's all built on a business model that treats our time and our attention as the most valuable thing in the world. And believe me, it's not just about showing you a few ads. It's a whole new kind of marketplace. There's actually a name for this system: surveillance capitalism. It sounds a little intense, I know, but it's pretty accurate. What it means is that our personal data, every click, every like, every video we watch, every fear, every hope, has been turned into one of the most profitable commodities on the planet. It's literally an economy built on watching us.
The playbook is surprisingly simple, really. It's just 3 steps. First, they capture everything. I mean, everything you do online. Second, they feed all that data into these super smart algorithms to build a predictive model of you. It's like a little digital voodoo doll that knows what you're going to do next. And finally, step 3, they sell access to that model. Advertisers can then target you with scary precision. The goal is just to keep you scrolling, because your time is literally their money. Okay, so that's the business model. But this isn't just about dollars and cents. It comes with a massive human cost, and it's changing the very way we think, how we feel, and how we see the world. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. These apps and websites, they're not just neutral tools. They aren't passive windows to the world. They have been intentionally engineered, using really sophisticated behavioral psychology for one main purpose: to grab your attention and never let it go. In other words, they're designed to be addictive.
So how do they do it? Well, their main weapon is something called intermittent positive reinforcement. Just think of a slot machine in a casino. You pull the lever over and over because you might win. It's that unpredictability that gets you completely hooked. Social media works the exact same way. Every time you pull down or refresh your feed, that's a pull of the lever. The unpredictable reward, a new like, a new comment, a funny video, gives your brain a little hit of dopamine, that pleasure chemical, which makes you want to do it again and again and again. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is maybe one of the most telling parts of the documentary. Some of the original designers of these features, they have a nickname for them: digital pacifiers. I mean, wow. They are literally tools designed to soothe us, to occupy our minds, to keep us glued to the screen. Now, this is where it gets really serious. The real-world consequences are just staggering, especially for the first generation of kids who grew up with this technology in their pockets. Study after study shows a direct link between the rise of social media and a terrifying spike in anxiety, depression, and even self-harm among teenagers. We're basically trading our kids' mental health for clicks and engagement.
But the impact isn't just personal. It's not just about our own mental health. It's societal. These same addictive mechanisms are literally reshaping our shared reality, pulling us apart and making it harder and harder to agree on even the most basic facts.
And why is that? It's because the algorithms don't care about the truth. They only care about what keeps you engaged. And what's more engaging than something shocking or outrageous or wild conspiracy? One study found that fake news, well, it spreads 6 times faster than true stories. The truth, let's face it, can be kind of boring sometimes. The result is that we're not even living in the same information universe anymore. The reality that the algorithm shows you is totally personalized, and it can be completely different from what your neighbor sees or your parents or your friends. This is how we all end up in our own little echo chambers, where our beliefs just get repeated back to us over and over, making it almost impossible to find common ground. This is the engine of polarization. Okay, but here's where the dilemma gets even trickier. The documentary strongly suggests we need to control this flood of bad information. But that brings up a massive question, doesn't it? Who gets to be the judge? Who gets to decide what's true and what's disinformation? And it's super important to look at the critical perspective on the documentary itself. Some argue that by calling for this broad censorship of extremism, the film might accidentally lump in legitimate political dissent with actual dangerous conspiracies. They say the real problem isn't the tech itself, but the whole capitalist system that demands profit above all else. And from that point of view, calls for censorship, whether from the government or from the companies, often end up silencing the voices of protesters and activists. It's a really important counterargument to keep in mind. So, looking at this whole complex mess, it can feel pretty overwhelming. It might even feel hopeless. But the good news is, we are not powerless. There are real, concrete steps we can all take to start reclaiming our minds and our attention. Here are some super simple but powerful things you can do, like right now. First, turn off all non-essential notifications. Seriously, they are the main way these apps manipulate you. Second, intentionally break out of your filter bubble. Go follow some people or pages that you actually disagree with to get a broader perspective. Third, create tech-free zones, especially for an hour before bed. And finally, never forget, your attention is a currency. Spend it wisely. And it's not just about managing the tools, it's about getting smarter with how we use them. We need to build up our digital literacy. So, every time you see something online, train yourself to ask these 3 simple questions. Who's behind this information? What's the evidence they're presenting? And what are other different sources saying about this? This is basically digital self-defense. So here we are at a real crossroads. This amazing technology that promised to connect all of humanity now has the power to tear us apart by playing on our worst impulses. The real dilemma isn't about whether technology is good or bad. It's about how we choose to use it and what standards we're willing to demand from the people who create it. The choice ultimately is ours.